Episode 8, Wrong Side of the Pond podcast. Jeremy Lance, DJ Switzer, and we did it. We are doing it.
What are we doing?
Finally, we are, for the first time in 8 weeks, recording in the originally designated time slot of the week, Sunday night.
That is an excellent achievement.
That was like going into week 1, we're like, let's do Sunday night. And then something happened, and we never achieved that. Always strived for it, never achieved until right now. Unless something goes bad right now, we're doing it. We're finally recording Sunday night.
Feeling good in the time slot we expected.
Yeah.
You know, we are feeling a little ADD at the moment
This
as
might
well.
not be the smartest week to do a 8:30 podcast because we have, obviously, FC Dallas and the Crew are popping off right now. And
Playoff implications on the line for both teams.
already 2-0.
It's already 2-0 Crew. And we're inside of like 20 minutes.
So now, who knows? You could be listening to this on Monday like, yeah, and then they crap the bed.
Yeah. And you guys will
4-2.
think, and you'll think we'll have like all this great optimism, but really we're just idiots, naive to the future.
We can only live in the present.
Yes.
All right. We got a lot, sort of, this week.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be a little Premier League heavy.
We probably will be.
Pretty big week. I mean, we got, obviously, the most important thing, the wrong side of the pond derby was this week.
It was.
And there was definitely some stuff to talk about on that one.
I think we'll have a few things to talk about with it.
chew on. Something else happened that was a little weird. Both Manchester teams completely falling flat coming out of their derby last week.
Right, and they're just screwing up the table for everyone. Well, except for our sides. But,
Well, screwing up the table for themselves.
well, that's true. That's true. It's just
screwing
unexpected.
up the table for our predictions.
I don't even know what to do with it right now. West Brom.
West Brom. I'm getting West Brom now. Streaking.
They are streaking.
And then City
Losing to Villa.
losing to Villa. Yeah.
To 2 late goals, too. Which,
Yeah.
You know, we just talked last week about how City were kind of standing up and kind of turning
Hey,
into
they
the team.
woke up. Yeah. They're no longer anemic. This offense is here to play.
And while the offense showed up,
They showed up on 2 corners.
the defense just chose to take it off as well.
Yeah.
So not exactly what we would have expected given, you know, their strong performance last week.
We will get into that when we hit on it. There's a member of that defense that I've already called out a couple weeks ago.
He's going to do it again.
I think it's to blame again.
He's going to do it again. So stay tuned.
Yeah. Watch yourself, pretty boy. I'm coming for you.
All right.
Anything? Well, we had Suarez.
Yeah, Suarez was back.
Suarez makes his return.
We're going to talk more about Liverpool.
And it goes well.
Yeah. Oh, and now Dallas have pulled one back. So here comes the intermittent A.D.D. reports on the Crew match throughout the game. So you saw me probably tweet a few of these goals already, but when I'm talking, there's just no way I can tweet.
Yeah, that hot start already fading fast.
Yeah. So we'll try not to break out there too often.
We also got, of course, Champions League second go-around there in group stages.
Some big matches.
Popping off.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got some decent. Manchester City, Bayern Munich on Wednesday.
Tasty.
That especially, I think it'd be a little tastier if it happened last week and like City's just looking hot, coming fresh off that United beatdown.
Yeah, but then they tripped and fell right beforehand.
Just completely collapsed.
So, hey,
we'll see.
They've already defied the odds once this year and won a Champions League match.
Well, they better break it because this is Munich.
Yeah, that's true. They're going to need to. Yeah.
All right, let's get started with the weekend action.
Okay. Start off with the big match.
The wrong side of the pond derby.
Spurs won.
Chelsea
won.
Also won.
Yeah. So I think it was like a tale of two halves.
Yeah, I wrote down right here. Tale of two halves.
Man, it's like I read your notes. I didn't.
Did you read my notes?
I didn't.
Do
I had my own
need to have
notes.
a cover sheet?
No.
Like
you
I'm
don't.
taking a test?
No, I had my own notes
Do I
here.
need to put a folder up?
I did. Well, yeah, you ought to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, tale of two halves. Absolutely. Chelsea came out, and tactically, Chelsea was just blah.
They
and
really
it's the
were.
same blah that they've kind of been struggling with.
Mourinho still doesn't know what he's doing with this team.
No, I don't think he knows this team.
No.
I think, and this is part of the worry I had, Jose Mourinho is coming into this one, and he is riding still on his own mystique and lore.
That's true.
And not like, hey, I should probably, figure out what this team's about, how this team operates. Like, he just shown up and goes, hey, this is how I run things, and here we go.
Yeah, I mean, the way that the Chelsea fans talk about him a lot of the time, it's like he didn't walk back into Stamford Bridge.
He floated back in.
He could have floated back in. Perhaps the Lord placed him on the touchline directly.
I told you, no, I don't think if I told you this. So over the summer, end of June, I had the privilege of spending a day in London and going to Stamford Bridge and taking the tour.
Ooh.
Now the tour, it's first of all a great tour.
Right.
I mean, they take you everywhere. It's really impressive. The fact that they'll just kind of we got to line up and do the walkout like the players did.
Nice.
It was awesome.
Nice.
I sat in Mourinho's seat.
Was it warm still?
So here's the thing on that. So I sit down in these seats and I'm looking at, that's that race car style seat, and I'm looking at it like these are a little beat up looking. And they had like the Chelsea crest on them, and they were kind of this kind of dingy blue, and I'm like, that's weird. They look nicer on TV.
Right.
And then I watched like that opening match against Hull, and I go, wait a minute.
Those chairs aren't the same.
Those are not the same seats.
They got new ones.
We had the bogus, like, old lame seats.
Well, maybe they hadn't put the new ones in yet.
I think we got the tourists.
Yeah. I don't know if Chelsea are like the team that have like Ferrari or like Porsche or something like that for their car seats.
Probably Chelsea.
But what I think
pretentious.
is really funny is United were like the team that I think started that all off, having kind of like custom car seats sitting on the sidelines. Sure. Now they're sporting like Chevy seats.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's one of their sponsors.
It is their sponsor. But would you rather sit, in a Ferrari seat, or would you rather sit in, a Chevy Impala seat?
I like to think it's a seat to a Chevy Silverado.
Ooh, yeah.
Because when I look at David Moyes, and Rooney, and especially Nani, I think of a guy driving a Silverado.
Yeah, that's true. And smoking a Marlboro Red.
Looking for that commercial where he's looking for that lost calf.
Yeah, it's true. I could totally see Rooney doing that, in all honesty. Yeah, that definitely makes sense. He'd still wear that.
What is that? That Stoli thing? What is it called?
Yeah, the Storelli. The Storelli headgear.
He'd still be wearing the Storelli, and then on top of it would be the cowboy hat.
That's true. He doesn't want to mess with his cut.
So anyway, we went on the tour at Stamford Bridge. Awesome tour. At the end of the tour, they take you right into the gift shop. And the first thing I see is these racks and racks of jerseys and T-shirts and everything that just say the special one. I mean, it was almost a third of the ground floor.
Was Jose stuff.
Of the Chelsea mega store was special one. Special one this, special one that.
Would any other manager get that kind of treatment? Merchandising?
The jerseys just said special, and then it was the number one.
It's repulsive.
Yeah. Needless to say, I didn't buy that.
Well.
I instead opted for the 3-pound T-shirt that was just of the Europa final.
Nice. Celebrating mediocrity.
Celebrating getting to media. It wasn't the, we won the final. It was, hey, we're participating in it.
Yeah. So it wasn't.
Here's the date and time.
Of our first fixture.
Make sure it lines up with your tickets if you are attending.
Nice. Well, way to score a shirt.
But yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. The Chelsea supporters are insane about Mourinho.
Right.
And absolutely in love with this guy. And I am too, to a certain
Well, I'm no Jose.
standpoint.
I'm no Jose basher. I'm actually a big fan of Mourinho. I like the way that he kind of shifts the focus off of players when they're playing or performing poorly.
Sure.
And kind of draws the attention on himself. And, a lot of people make a lot of fuss about, Mourinho, he's so out of control. But you spend a lot of time talking about Mourinho when you're not really talking about his players that have been, crapping the bed for the previous 2 or 3 weeks.
But this go around, does it not feel a little...
Like, I've seen this trick before.
I feel like it's like we hired him and he's here. And then that was as far as the planning went. It was like, all right, let's hire Jose back. And now he's back. Okay.
Well, I mean, I think
should he, try to implement a system that works with the players? Should we try to bring in some people during the window that fit his style? Let's not worry about that.
Jose can do whatever he needs to. Yeah. The guy's a genius.
We're going to move these jerseys over here.
He's going to genius.
Special one.
Yeah. The Lord placed him back with this club.
It was like the planning just didn't go all the way through.
Right.
It was like, we're going to bring him in. It's going to be awesome. We're going to sell a lot of stuff. Oh, wait, do these guys fit into his system? Oh, my guess we should have thought about that.
Yeah, they didn't really think through that all that
Whoops.
well. Oh, well. Well, it definitely showed in the first half. We can say that much. I mean, Spurs, not to toot my own horn, but they looked amazing in the first half and really took it to Chelsea. Had them on the back foot, I'd say, for a majority of the first half. And Eriksen, again, was the architect of a lot for Spurs. And I know I've been, reiterating my love for him and my, enjoyment and getting to watch him play week in, week out.
I'm really surprised they weren't able to really pour it on the first half.
Yeah, I mean,
they had the chances.
Yeah, they created opportunities, but
Absolutely.
It's been the same issue for Spurs all season. Since we've gotten in our, kind of first team, is we've now created all these chances, but we just can't finish any of them off. I mean, this is what we've not scored more than one goal in every match we've played in, which is consistent. And there have been plenty of matches in the past and seasons in the past where we've started off, portions of the season where we haven't been scoring goals.
Right.
But you'd like to see more, and especially with all the chances they created in that game. We could have put it away pretty early, but we allowed Chelsea the opportunity to still have a leg in the game.
So first half comes and goes.
Right.
And you're thinking, I think everyone who's watching this is thinking, boy, Tottenham's.
They're just going to run away with it.
I mean, yeah, they're just going to keep this going. And they're eventually going to wear down Chelsea's defense because they've been at them all day.
Right.
And it's going to get out of control here pretty soon, unless something changes. And something at half did change.
Mourinho went to the land of exile.
Yeah.
And said, hey, Juan Mata.
The land of misfit toys.
Yes. It's, that's a great kind of character for Juan Mata. He does look like someone that would, maybe even make toys for a living. Doesn't he?
He is about that height.
Yeah. He could be an elf.
He's a small dude.
Yeah. But Mourinho brings him back in, and he completely just turned the match on its head.
Absolutely. He was the star, although I also say credit to Torres. Torres played very well up until the point where he was no longer allowed to be on the field.
Correct. And I think we can get into that.
Oh, we'll get into that. Don't you worry, sir.
Yeah.
It was a great match for the two of them. They start moving the ball really well. They had some close calls. Finally, that free kick, Terry puts it in. We got ourselves a new game here.
Right.
And the way momentum was shifting, you're thinking Chelsea might steal this one.
I thought they were going to pip it.
They're about ready to grab this lead.
So my wife was mad at me in the second half of this game.
Because you were swearing too much?
Well, I wasn't really swearing. I'm sure I was swearing. My anxiety was so high in the second half. Like, oh, man, we're going to definitely give this up. This sucks. We're screwed. I had my dog, freaking out. I mean, she was legitimately pacing about the house and kept going to hide in places whenever I would yell at the television. So
she knew the storm was coming.
She knew the storm was coming.
That's what dogs do when the storm's coming.
Yeah, and she didn't know if it was directed at her or, what it was, but she was getting out of the way. So I'm sorry, dog. I did not mean to wind you up.
So, not just in your house, but on the pitch, things were getting hot.
They were.
Things were getting a little testy.
Feisty.
Especially with two in particular men.
Yeah.
Fernando Torres.
And Jan Vertonghen.
And Vertonghen, remember, he's already known for pulling pantses down.
Yeah, he is.
He might pants you.
He might pants you.
So that threat is always out there.
Yeah, but it's only in good fun because everyone ultimately had a laugh about that.
You had to know that, but probably Torres was a little worried because there's no way that guy's wearing just normal guy underwear.
No, definitely not.
He's got something exotic going on as far as what he's wearing on there.
Yeah.
And maybe
lacy.
Yeah, I'm guessing some kind of
like he raided David Beckham's underwear drawer.
Yeah, or Victoria Beckham's.
Well,
I mean,
David has admitted that he likes to share Victoria's underwear on occasion.
Well, maybe Fernando's into that kind of thing too.
Yeah.
So they get into it. They were getting into it a little bit.
They were
throughout the second half.
They kind of were. They were bumping up, and Vertonghen's a big guy, and he's the type of defender that's going to let you know he's there. Despite being quite skilled with the ball at his feet, but he wasn't really doing anything that I thought, wasn't unwarranted. Things you would expect out of a center back in an average Premier League match, I think.
Yeah, he was just being physical and controlling,
But it all kind of erupted.
Territory.
It erupted at one point.
It did.
So there was a ball that was kind of hit towards the corner, and there was a bit of a foot race between Vertonghen and Torres heading out for the ball to try to get there. Mm-hmm. And it was pretty clear that Vertonghen was probably going to beat Torres there.
Sure.
And I don't know if you saw this.
He had the leg advantage.
Yeah, he did have the leg advantage, and you could tell he had, designs on just letting the ball run out. I don't know if you saw this on the replay at all.
I've seen plenty of replays.
I am 100% sure that Torres attempted and succeeded in trying to clip at Vertonghen's ankles right as he was walking away. You can see him look down at Vertonghen's ankle and tries to clip and take a little swipe. And he caught him, and Vertonghen kind of tripped up. And as he got up, you could tell he was a little pissed off about that.
Sure.
And rightly so.
No one likes that.
But that's where Torres, I think, kind of crossed the line. And I think...
He crossed the line there?
He crossed the line there.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's where he actually probably should have been sent off. Torres really gets up in Vertonghen's face, and it's kind of playing the dick role, where he's just giving him that, yeah, I know what I just did there, and I don't care. And Vertonghen probably had some choice words for him, like, hey, buddy, get off my back. And long story short, he ends up kind of taking a swipe at Vertonghen's face, almost scratching it, with nails, which I just found...
Okay, and here's where we might disagree.
It was like a little girl slap.
I watched it over. Hey, don't say girl slap. The guy on BBC got in trouble for it.
Well, I'm sorry. I didn't. And I don't mean to insult girls, but most girls do slap a little bit harder than you'd expect a man to slap.
So I don't know if that's quite what I saw. And then some people even thought they just saw him scratching his face, like he was
like a cat.
Yeah, like he just had a really nice French manicure done. He's just taking a swipe.
Right.
I don't know if that's exactly what it was. It looked like he grabbed his face and then just tried to just jerk his face. But he grabbed his face, but at the same time he's grabbing his face, he's getting shoved too.
Well, yeah.
So I don't know if he originally intended on just kind of
pulling on it.
Yeah, kind of just yanking his face. Maybe he was trying to, as I tweeted to you this week, pants his face.
He could have. But he's like, oh, crap.
Skin doesn't do
that.
The
skin doesn't move on the face at all like that.
You can't pants a face. Obviously, things got testy there.
They did. I mean, I personally think Torres could have been seen off there. I think if the ref had seen a better angle on that.
Well, he did. I believe that's about at the point where the ref did call them both over to say, hey.
Well,
we're knocking this off.
Torres got a card out of it. He got a yellow.
Yeah, he got a yellow.
So, I mean, and that was expected.
But did he get a yellow for the putting his hand on his face or for clipping him?
Well, one of the two.
We don't really know.
Well, that's why I'm saying he could have been sent off there for both those kind of infractions. Now, that would have been harsh.
That would be rather harsh.
Yeah.
Sending a guy off for just clipping a dude.
But then, it kind of cooled down for a little while.
Yeah.
And
Chelsea kind of continued. Hold momentum.
But Torres kind of just kept picking at the scab a little bit.
Kind of niggling away.
He really did. And every time he had the opportunity, where he's running by Vertonghen, he would, say a thing or two. And you could see them kind of having words.
What language is it just? Do you think they just go straight English?
I think they would go with English.
Because that's the language they figure they both know.
Yeah.
English, the universal language of being a dick.
Yeah, exactly. But I can't imagine a scenario where Fernando Torres would know Flemish, Dutch,
no,
whatever he speaks back home.
Some Flemish smack would have been great.
That would have been great, especially if we had it mic'd up.
Yeah.
But either way, Torres just kept picking at him.
Would it just sound like that chef on the Muppets, though?
Oh, absolutely. That was a really good one, too.
Like that?
I do like that. I do like that. The old Swedish chef.
The Swedish chef.
Yeah. So if we'd heard those kind of words, we all could have had a chuckle out of it. But either way, Torres just kept picking at it.
Yeah, he kept going. He kept just being kind of the little brother, just kind of niggling away.
And then there was that challenge where Torres was sent off. And
let's talk about this, though.
Yeah.
So it's a ball in the air.
Right.
They both go for it.
Okay.
How did you see that contact happening?
So when I initially saw it, I didn't think much of it.
No.
I was just like, that looked like a 50-50 challenge.
Because it really didn't look like their heads clashed too much.
No, not really too much. But then when I saw it from the other angle, where they kind of reversed the angle on it, it did look a bit to me, and I'm, obviously looking through some lily white tinged glasses right here, but it looked like he kind of, again, looked at Vertonghen while he was going in on the challenge, looked away from the ball, and then kind of led with the arm, where he would almost charged at him intentionally. So seeing it from that other angle, it looked a bit like he threw himself more at Vertonghen. But
you don't think that's him putting his arm out to brace himself?
I mean, I can see the argument.
Goes into another person.
I can see the argument, but it was the eye shift where he looked away from the ball, directly at Vertonghen.
It's all about the eyes.
Yeah, it is all about the eyes. You can read a Spaniard by his eyes. Now, you tell me your perspective.
So I didn't feel like there was much into the actual physical collision.
Right.
When they did come down, Vertonghen is grabbing Torres by the back of his jersey as they're going down.
That's true. I did see that.
So off of that, I'm thinking I didn't really see anything there in either way. I figured, the guy was stopping because he wasn't sure who he was going to give the free kick to.
Right.
That's all I was thinking off of that. Then the announcers are kind of like, they start talking about someone getting sent off. And I'm like, what? And then sure enough, Torres gets sent off, and I have flashbacks to last year against United, where things start looking great, and then Torres gets himself sent off. And it really sucked because right then and there, obviously Chelsea's momentum is gone.
Right.
They now have to, they had to bring in Azpilicueta, and they had to play, just park the bus.
Right.
So it sucked from that standpoint that not only was Chelsea not going to be able to carry that momentum and possibly win, but a match that had really turned into a fun, high-paced match, the air kind of came out of the balloon.
It did a bit.
And it became less of a fun watch. I'm sure from your angle, you're like, sweet, now's our time to pounce.
It really was. I was feeling hopeful at that moment.
So that didn't happen, though.
It didn't.
We are left with a 1-1 draw. Coming out of this, how do you feel about your club?
Obviously, as a Spurs fan, I kind of feel like we dropped the ball a little bit.
You've only had essentially 2 matches now,
right,
against top-tier opponents.
Exactly.
You lose.
We lost to Arsenal.
You lose to Arsenal in the North London Derby.
And then we dropped 2 points at home against Chelsea in the other London Derby. And it stings a little bit, seeing how well we played in the first half and how many opportunities we created. I thought we were going to come out of the gates again in the second half kind of flying. And
right.
That clearly didn't happen. Mata disrupted the flow of the match. He really was a game changer. I think he may have played himself back into Jose's plans a little bit more.
Jose has already said he will be starting Tuesday against Stoy Bucharest.
Yeah. Well, reward.
So he's got that going for him.
He's got that going for him. But on the whole for the day, I kind of look at it, it's a big club, a team that has title aspirations.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. We split the spoils with them, and it was probably the result that was fair for the match, given how much Spurs dominated in the first half and how Chelsea dominated in the second.
The 1 point, you'll take it?
I'll take it.
You don't ultimately feel too terrible about the fact that it's just 1 point.
Well, I'd much prefer it be 3.
Well, I think every week you much prefer it be 3.
We lose ground on the Gooners because of it. It's just something that stings a little bit. So that's my take. What about yours?
So from a Chelsea standpoint, given the way the first half went, and given the way that we had to spend the last, 15 minutes on our heels, I'm feeling decent about the 1 point.
Right.
But I think both clubs have to feel like they had a chance at certain points to take this one.
Yeah.
And instead, things didn't happen.
Neither team were able to capitalize the way they would hope to.
I am hopeful from seeing what we did see in that second half before the red card. Looked great. It looked like it looked like the Chelsea that can exist currently with the players. It didn't look like Mourinho's Chelsea. It was a fast-paced. It wasn't a counterattack offense. They were the ones
more
pressing.
Possession style, yeah.
And I think Jose has to realize he may not this year, or at least if he's able to pull off, a bunch of moves in January, Mourinho has to play with who he's got.
Yeah.
And who he's got is not that counterattack, conservative style that he won titles with.
That's true.
He's got to go with what he's got, and I think we saw that in the second half. He made a move that was against kind of how he's been doing things. He's exiled Mata to the land of misfit toys. So he brings on Yukon Cornelius, and they start playing great.
Right.
Hopefully, and we'll see, midweek will be a little hard to tell because he's been, with squad rotation and everything. Next week, it'll be really interesting to see which Chelsea takes the field.
Right.
The The Chelsea that is trying to be pressed into this mold that Mourinho has of what his club should look like, or the Chelsea that has existed for the past 2 years that, granted, haven't played the greatest in these past 2 years, but that's who they are.
Right.
So, I don't know. It was a frustrating match, that first half.
Yeah.
Because it was like, here we freaking go again. This just inept offense. We have no idea what we're doing. Torres is just off on his own, just running around up top. Then we had a kind of a weird setup in the midfield. I didn't really understand what was going on there.
Ramirez was playing out wide. I mean, it was again one of those, we said this a little bit earlier, a clear sign that Mourinho is still figuring out what he's doing with this team. And, again, tinkering big time at halftime, bringing on a number of subs later in the match. Jose's definitely still trying to find the right combination for all these players. And it's a tough task when you have midfield riches like that. So that's something that we knew going into the season, and we're already kind of seeing what we expected out of that was chaos and oddity. So
I mean, they have Norwich next, so I'm not too worried about how they're going to be able to perform against Norwich.
You just never know, though.
So, he could probably still trot out the let's try to make this work my way style.
Right.
And it could probably still work against Norwich. But I'll be very hopeful if I see a more free-flowing, pass it around.
Man, it sounds like you and Roman Abramovich have been hanging out together. I want offensive football.
Listen,
give me some offensive stuff.
Me and Roman just want the same thing.
Yeah.
And that's success for the Blues.
I was going to say,
billions of dollars?
Billions of dollars, Russian prostitutes and...
There's got to be cocaine somewhere in that mix.
Hey, man, there is a bar at Stamford Bridge. Did they show you the bar?
No.
Yeah, there's a bar there. It's like under the stadium.
Well, there's like a really, really fancy restaurant.
Maybe that's
There's
it.
There's a couple restaurants. There's one that we actually ate at for lunch. It was decent.
Yeah.
I had a burger because that was like their lunch special. It was like real cheap. I was like, yeah, sure, we'll give a burger. And I wanted to just kind of be like, yeah, why don't you Euros stay in your lane on the whole burger thing?
Burgers in Europe never quite turn out as well as you think. I'm going to do a quick little tangent here.
They grill the crap out of
I have a great burger story.
All right.
From Europe.
Euro burger
story. I promise that I'm not going to call a Royale with cheese or anything like that. We're not going to get into any, cliche movie lines here. This is a legit story. It happened.
Okay.
So the summer before my senior year of college, we took a trip as a team over to Europe with my Ohio Northern men's varsity soccer team. And we did a small tour of Italy and England. And we started off in Italy, and we flew into Florence and spent some time at Lake Como, which is a gorgeous area. If you ever get the opportunity to go up there, it's up in the north of Italy, just south of Switzerland. We crossed over into there for a little bit as well. But really where I'm going with this is the hotel that we stayed at in Como cooked our dinners for us the first 2 nights we were in Italy. And the first meal was a traditional Italian meal. We had a lot of different courses. It was great food. The second night, I think they just felt the need to accommodate the Americans because they
make you feel at home.
They wanted to make us feel at home in Como, Italy. And I appreciate the effort from our hosts. And they brought us out each a burger. But not, a burger with all the fixings or maybe even a bun. It was just a hamburger, a plain hamburger on a plate.
Oh, that's missing a few items.
It's, we were missing a few of the essentials.
It's Adkins diet-friendly
It really
burger.
was. So they were watching our carbs for us, which, again, I appreciate Como, Italy.
That's good.
You guys were really looking out for us. They knew we were playing some football that weekend. I had to somehow convey to them, hey, can we get something to put on this? Because you were right. They overgrilled that little guy.
Oh, yeah. They burned the crap out of those
So
burgers.
we finally conveyed to them that we needed ketchup, just like something like that. They bring out
catsup.
I don't know if it said catsup on it or if it was ketchup or what it is in Italian.
Is it their ketchup that has like malt vinegar or something weird in it?
No, it was normal ketchup.
Okay, all right, so that's good.
But they had a singular bottle of this ketchup, and it was probably 4 gallons. So we are all trying to individually squirt ketchup out of a 4-gallon bottle onto our singular plain hamburgers on our plates.
Did not want an itchy trigger finger that night on that one.
A few people may have ended up with more ketchup than they did burger. So
just a plate of ketchup.
Yeah. So if anyone offers you a burger in Italy, be skeptical. You know, again, we appreciate your hospitality, Italians, but let's just stay clear of that American specialty. So there were other matches.
There were other matches, none of them too significant, but yeah, there was some other matches.
Yeah, so let's talk about that, trip up in Manchester.
Which one would you like to start with?
Let's start with probably the one that's making more headlines, which would probably be the United-West Brom match.
All right, United 1, West Brom 2. Wayne Rooney, shockingly, with another free kick.
Scoring?
Again. Free kick.
He's reminding everyone why he's worth all this fuss.
Back-to-back losses, though, for United.
What's going on there?
What is this United?
Who
are these guys?
There were actually boos coming down from the rafters at Old Trafford.
I mean, we talked about it last week. This is a fan base that is just not used to this situation. They don't even know how to compute.
I just love seeing them not be this patient with the situation. So, Moyes clearly is figuring out this squad. You wouldn't think it would need that much figuring out, considering, for the most part, this is the same team that won the title last year. But for whatever reason, they just can't make it click this year.
They can't, and they don't know what to do. You can just tell that there's this just sense of, wait, what is this? This is not supposed to happen. One of my favorite movies is the movie Miracle.
Okay.
Based off of the 1980 men's Olympic hockey championship.
Right.
Getting the gold. Bunch of just drunk college kids from Minnesota and Boston getting together.
Beating Soviets.
Beating those Ruskies.
Yeah.
So there's a scene where they're playing them and they're winning, in the semifinal match, and they look over at the other bench, and the Soviet coach is confused of what to do, and he was supposed to, they were is he gonna make I think it was gonna go to an empty net and make a goalie change or whatever, and the guy that plays Herb Brooks, I think it's Kurt Russell,
right?
He goes, look at him, he doesn't know what to do. Because they never had to deal with that before.
Right.
And that's what's happening at United. The fans, and I think to now an extent, some of the players are going, I don't know what to do. This is, we've never dealt with this before.
Well, I heard somewhere this is their worst start in 26 years, which, every year you get a team like that that's having its worst start ever or in a long time. But I think you're right. I mean, everyone in the stands is confused. The teams are confused. I think the boardroom's confused. Really, I mean, we kind of hinted at this a couple minutes ago. The one variable that's really completely different from last year's United team to this one has to be Moyes. And yeah, they brought in a few players. Zaha's in, Fellaini's in, a couple other guys here and there. But it's really just, it has to be down to him right now, doesn't it? I mean, are there other things? Is the Rooney situation really causing this much trouble? I don't think so.
You look at the other variables are the Rooney situation, and then for this 2-game stretch, RVP hasn't played much of it. He came off the bench in this one.
As did Fellaini.
Yeah. Not like that mattered.
No.
He's been so far as zilch.
Exactly.
Let me throw this at you. As far as, and then this goes to more this is really happening. Southampton, Hull City, Aston Villa, West Brom, and Cardiff. Those are all clubs that are currently ahead of them on the table. Hull City is ahead of them. Cardiff is ahead of them.
2 promoted sides.
Southampton is way ahead of them.
Spurs, Arsenal,
Everton,
Liverpool,
Chelsea
Everton.
even.
Yeah.
The shock of shocks. Chelsea is ahead of them.
I mean, the season's young.
Season's young, but on six matches to have 7 points.
I mean, this isn't a Man United number. But, I mean, we've seen them before, and obviously it's not been this bad, but they've had bad starts.
Yeah.
And then they just become Man United, and they chug along, and they get the results, and all of a sudden they're at the top of the table, and they're lifting the trophy at the end of the year. So United have this uncanny knack for being able to right the ship.
But I think at this point, there is cause for concern.
Well, they don't have their captain.
In this analogy, the captain
is David Moyes.
Wouldn't that be the skipper?
I guess he would be the skipper.
He'd be the skipper.
Yeah, the gaffer.
The gaffer.
The gaffer.
Where
I don't
did
think
that
that's a
name come
nautical term. I do not know. There's something to look up for next week's pod.
Like the word gaff means like to make a mistake. That's like an error.
So it's an error maker.
That seems like a really stupid name.
Well, the English have all sorts of weird names for
weirdos.
things. So, well, United, they're down in the dumps, but not to be too concerned because their city rivals are also keeping them company in mid-table.
So, did somebody order 2 bed poopings?
Well, it's a delicious set of bed poopings, and I've never said that before, and I'll never say it
Probably
again.
Never want to say that again. Aston Villa 3, Manchester City 2. I got to say it again, though. Brad Guzan, stud.
He is a stud.
Stud. We talked about the 2 corners that he did concede. Otherwise, he made 5 saves. He even got credited with an assist.
Ooh, a point.
You gotta love that.
Yeah. Good work there, Brad.
The other side of the field, though.
City.
Joe Hart.
I mean, he's just been...
I mean, what was that on that one goal? He just stood there and let the guy just walk all the way up to him and kick it around him.
I think he has...
What is he...
I think he has confidence issues. That has to be what his issue is right now.
Is it? I think it's the other way around. I think he's a little too confident in himself.
Well,
I think he's too confident in his ability.
I don't know who made this point. I'm, extremely guilty of hearing this said on other podcasts and then trying to pass it off as my own. But someone was saying that he really has no one challenging him right now. Can you name me who City's backup keeper is without cheating?
Well, we talked about it earlier, though. I can't. And last year, he started he started all 38 matches.
Right. Now, does he have a challenger for England either?
Who's that going to be? Friggin' Bob Green again?
One would hope not.
If that's what it's coming to,
I know
they're in some serious
David
trouble.
James is still playing in like Iceland or something.
Sure.
So we could bring him back out. He's probably like 50 at this point. But he has no one pushing him. His motivation is zero, aside from one would hope a professional goalkeeper wanting to win things.
I'm even trying to think of other British keepers right now.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough of thinking them. Jack Butland. He's that young goalkeeper. Didn't Chelsea sign him?
No, he buffed him. They tried to bring him and he goes, nah.
Yeah, I can't remember where he went.
I don't want to go to you.
He went somewhere else. Either way.
And he went to like Birmingham City or something.
Yes, he did.
He chose them over Chelsea.
Well,
because he would actually play.
Well, exactly. And Chelsea have another excellent goalkeeper waiting in reserves loaned off at Atletico Madrid at the moment.
Yeah, and we brought in the Aussie.
Yeah.
So that's always cool, too.
Well, that's true.
We got that going for us as well.
He's just cooking up,
Jamal Blackman, I think he's British.
Man.
He's our one of our 90 keepers that Chelsea currently.
There you go. Joe Hart is definitely off form, and you wish that any of these teams would have someone that could challenge him and kind of put him in his place and teach him that, hey, you need to start playing a little bit here. We're paying you handsomely. You're playing for, quote, unquote, a team with title aspirations of Champions League magnitude. Can you win a competition like that with a keeper that possibly even looks disinterested?
We talk about it all the time with Jurgen telling these guys to go play against the best competition. Go to England. Go to Europe. Go play against the best competition. Does Roy Hodgson need to tell him, hey, go somewhere where you have to actually challenge for your spot?
But that just...
If I'm Roy Hodgson, I'm going in the back room and trying to get somebody in there to challenge this guy at City.
Who else in England can afford to buy Joe Hart? I mean, he's pretty much unbuyable at the moment, although his form would dictate otherwise.
So then it really just comes down to, do City need to bring in a bigger name or maybe some young gun backup keeper?
I have a keeper in mind that would probably be potentially ripe for the picking, that would be enough to scare him potentially into challenging. Now, the problem is...
Are you going to say Brad Friedel?
Oh, I was. No, not Brad Friedel. Iker Casillas at Real Madrid.
Yeah.
Still experiencing a bit of exile himself.
Sure.
He's injured at the moment. He picked up an injury playing in the Champions League about 5 minutes into their first Champions League match.
That's good. That helps you really.
Yeah, really good way of
spot.
getting back into Madrid's squad. Even Jose was benching him through the majority of last season.
Yeah.
In favor of Diego Lopez. And to Lopez's credit, he's playing really well, but he's kind of unsettled, and Ancelotti's sticking with this at the moment. So
that's a decent choice.
I mean, that's the only keeper I could think that would maybe scare, the pants off of Joe Hart a little bit, unless Jan Vertonghen wants to do it for us.
City have the cash to overpay 2 keepers at once.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That's not a problem for them.
The problem is do England and the FA allow something like that to happen? And it will be a really clear indicator of how much power the FA still have if they allow City to bring in and challenge the quote-unquote unchallengeable Joe Hart.
Even though we both agree that would honestly be the best thing for him. One of my buddies, Tyler Stutzman, he's a radio host up in the Holmes County area of Ohio. Amish country.
Ooh.
So I'm not sure who's listening to him on the radio, seeing as how that's the work of the devil.
It is.
But he tweeted out, he's a big City supporter, he tweeted out, City, I don't understand you. And I think that kind of just wraps up the sentiment.
Yep.
Like, what is this club?
Exactly.
They are an extremely talented team that has looked great, and yet they're an extremely talented team that has also looked
bad.
Beyond bad.
So goes the game of football.
Let's also talk about some bad. Fulham 1, Cardiff 2. Cardiff playing great. We talked about it last week, though. Martin Jol.
His time is about over.
Yeah, there's just a few more grains of sand in that hourglass.
Well, hey, they ripped out the Michael Jackson statue.
Okay.
And now I think Jol is going to be the next thing to ripped out as well. So Fulham are in dangerous position already this season, much like someone we'll probably talk about in a few minutes. Sunderland, they're just a team that look completely lost right now and don't know how to really get their wits about them. They almost look indifferent on the field too, Fulham. Just like, we know we're bad. We know it. Now, I do wonder, there is probably some turbulence going on in that locker room right now.
You got to think that's an uncomfortable place to be right now.
And Martin Jol is a big, brawny-looking guy.
Sure.
I'm sure he's probably shaking his big Dutch fists at people.
But, I don't know if you saw it, though. At the end of that match, he looked beside himself.
Yeah.
He was sitting there, and he looked absolutely – because Cardiff snatches that late one there.
Right.
And he looked absolutely distraught.
That, big pouty lip that he does where he kind of sulks down in his chair and does a big lip that he sticks out.
Yeah.
And, I'm doing that lip right now.
Folds his arm.
And no one, he folds his arms up. And no one's seeing me do this, but trust that it looks nothing like him. Yeah. It doesn't.
You're not as fat as him.
But I would imagine he'll probably, at most make it another 2 weeks. Maybe if he gets a couple good results, they did, get a win midweek in the over Everton in the Capital One Cup.
So they got 2 should-be cupcakes coming up here.
Okay.
They got Stoke at home and then Crystal Palace away.
Well, I wouldn't call Stoke ever a cupcake, but I hear what you're saying.
I would say Crystal Palace away is a cupcake. Crystal Palace playing absolutely hot garbage bad.
Well, we would expect as much from that club.
Well, and we're getting what we expected from Crystal Palace.
That's true.
But they have Stoke home, Crystal Palace away, Southampton away. Southampton's a good club right now.
Right.
They're playing great. And then they got a rough November as they got United and Liverpool.
Well, they definitely need to get Berbatov healthy. I think that's first step here. But
that's just one guy.
That's just one guy. but they need something like that, a talisman that's going to pull them up. But I think their problems are bigger than just Berbatov's missing right now, and we'll see how it shifts out for good old Martin.
And Cardiff, how about that?
Yeah.
I mentioned it ahead of United currently.
I don't think anyone would have predicted at this point in the season that they would be ahead of not only United, but also City. So, impressive run from the Welsh.
A good one. Let's move over to Hull City 1, West Ham 0. A pretty crappy game to watch.
Yeah, it wasn't very enjoyable. I'm not going to lie, I didn't watch much of it at all.
I skipped around to all the matches there at the 10 o'clock hour.
Yeah.
But Hull, you got to hand it to them. Currently, Everton still has to play, but currently they sit 7th.
Right.
And I mentioned it before. They're 3 points clear of United.
Again, no one would have predicted that at the beginning of the year.
And this Robert Brady kid's actually been stringing together some good matches.
Now I think you're reading my notes because I actually had something written down about him. So, yeah, that's his 4th goal so far this season, which, for a kid that really didn't have a name for himself prior to it, it's a great showing. So he's, obviously pulling Hull up a bit, and it's fun watching their, we get more and more views of Carson Young as well, which, never gets old. It just never gets old.
You're a fan?
I am a fan.
All right.
I always get a hearty belly laugh, like a Santa laugh almost, every time I see him. Just who tucks in their jersey over top of, a button down and a tie? Just looks ridiculous.
Let's talk West Ham for a second.
Okay.
This is a club that, finishes 10th last year. They started out decent, but, they haven't done really much of anything this year.
That's West Ham and Sam Allardyce football for you, I think. They just...
Yeah, but eventually you got to get results.
Yeah, they do. But they're not getting results. They're hovering, above the relegation zone at the moment. Not really doing that much.
They got 5 points.
Yeah, but every Sam Allardyce team kind of has this way of hammering out results, getting results they probably shouldn't. And, they haven't really had them so far this season. But I'm not too worried about them. I think if they can get Andy Carroll healthy and maybe start banging things back into him again, relying on Carlton Cole is never a safe strategy.
Yeah. Yeah, you got Carlton Cole, you got Nolan and Noble.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to win a whole lot of games.
No, and they didn't this weekend. So, I think they are going to need a rebound here pretty soon to kind of pull themselves back into a situation where they may not be in that relegation
battle.
They'll
be at White Hart Lane this week.
That's true.
So hopefully that turning around for you waits a week.
Well, I would hope. But, after we let the air out of ourselves this weekend, I'm feeling a bit deflated.
After Torres deflated someone's face.
Yes, exactly.
Let's talk about, I just mentioned them a second ago, is a club that's playing great right now. Southampton 2, Crystal Palace 0. Crystal Palace, not that club, of course.
No.
They're terrible.
No, they are pretty bad. Oh, we have a goal, and it's for FC Dallas. So we're breaking in again with another live update from a crew match that you will probably already know the result to. And it's now 3-2 Columbus.
Did they let that continue after that ball went
Yeah, that looked out of bounds.
Yeah, wow, that's a rough one.
Oh, man, that's terrible defense from the crew, though. All right, so let's get back to Southampton, though.
Southampton 2, Crystal Palace 0. Osvaldo and then Lambert.
Yeah, Ricky Lambert back on the score sheet again. Yeah.
Very Rooney-esque, I would say.
This has been a year of excellent free kicks so far in the Premier League.
The year of the free kick.
Who would have thought that with Bale leaving, too, that we'd have all these great free kicks on display? And we're getting a lot of them. Rooney's contributed a few now, and Lambert's today was obviously a spectacular hit, too. But no, you really do like the way that Southampton are playing right now. The Saints really have a pretty, robust attack, I'd say. They're balanced. They have good shape. Osvaldo's finally coming good after his arrival from Roma over the summer. So it's definitely a team that I think is going to shake some things up, and a lot of the big teams are probably going to end up dropping some points to them.
Well, and you look at their schedule so far. Had it not been for that little slip-up 1-0 loss to Norwich, this is an undefeated side right here.
That's true.
They have played well throughout so far.
They went to Anfield, beat a previously unbeaten Liverpool side last week.
Yeah.
So Southampton are definitely going to be a team that I think we're going to see in the top half of the table this year, at least on current form. They made good signings, and I think there's a lot left in this team.
So they finished 14th last year. You're saying they beat that?
Yeah, I think we'll see them probably finish as high as maybe 9th, 8th.
Wow. Top 10 finish, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. For the Saints, that's a proper club.
That's decent.
Yeah. So, but Crystal Palace, they were pretty miserable, but we were kind of coming to expect that from that team.
Yeah, this was a team when we were projecting how the season was going to play out. I had them dropping because, this is not even the first or second best team from the, Sky Bet Championship League?
Right.
This was the 5th best team. I can't think that they have very high expectations for themselves. But they're sitting at 3 points right now. Luckily for them, Sunderland is 10 times worse than they are.
Right.
This is a bad team.
They are a bad team.
I don't see them getting out of the basement.
No. I mean, they're going to sit in the relegation zone, I would imagine, for most of the season. I think the target for them is to not be the worst Premier League team of all time, which was actually, I believe, Hull City three years back. And I think the points total they're aiming for is 12. So if they can beat 12 points,
they're quarter of the way there.
They're quarter of the way there. So I think they got it in them. Ian Holloway's always there for good laughs too. So keep an eye on him.
All right, let's move to a club that can't really ignore them as much as we try to. Swansea 1, Arsenal 2. I got to throw it out there. At this point, Arsenal, are they the best club currently?
I don't like saying this.
But
I think they are. I mean,
you look at their current form. They got, Ramsey's playing out of his mind.
Right.
Giroud has been playing great. They bring in Mesut Ozil, who has been unbelievable.
Which you would expect from that guy.
Just walked right in, and it's immediate impact. He's fitting in great. It's at this point, I mean, obviously it's early, and they could slip up. They could have some injuries. The injury bug could bite them.
Right.
This is a great team.
I mean, they are looking really good, and as much as it pains me to say it, they're playing with humongous confidence right now. I mean, Aaron Ramsey is someone you mentioned, and he's just – we haven't seen this Aaron Ramsey since Aaron Ramsey first burst onto the scene for Arsenal a few years back.
He's scoring so many goals, people don't have time to die.
Yeah.
No, famous people aren't dying quick enough.
I know. It's confusing to me. I'm not sure what to do. We keep surviving, so we know we're not the celebrities that are going to die.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about us being the celebrity that's going to die.
Yeah.
I did see that guy that was kind of an internet sensation a while ago, that guy that had blue skin, that old guy that had blue skin.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he died. Does that count?
Yeah, it counts.
Okay.
So that's Aaron Ramsey's fault.
So that's one.
Yeah.
We still got two more. Hopefully all of them will just be internet sensations.
That'd be fine. Next up is going to be like that.
Chocolate Rain guy's going down.
Yeah, maybe, the kid that cried for Britney Spears.
Chris Crocker is his name.
Yeah. So.
Don't ask me why I know that.
That is a weird thing to know.
He has the same name as a Bengals player.
Well, okay.
So.
Not that weird. Unless you live in Cincinnati.
It gets stuck in your head pretty easily.
But yeah, the Gooners look good. Now, I don't think they look particularly good against Swansea.
They didn't look great.
But Swansea really did kind of take it to them there for a good chunk of that first half.
But they got the 3 points.
But they did, and especially on the road, and the Liberty Stadium is not an easy place to go and play. You travel way up north to the Welsh side of the UK, and the Gooners get a result in a tough spot against a team that plays good possession football. The one thing I wrote down that I thought was kind of interesting about this match was the fact that Arsenal actually lost the possession battle.
Really? Oh, I didn't get a chance to really look at the numbers.
Yeah, so they went down 42% to 58% for Swansea's possession, which you just don't see the Gooners give up that very often. So, but regardless of that,
shocking.
They still pulled out the win. So you have to get Wenger credit. Stan Kroenke offered him a big endorsement prior to this weekend's matches, saying that, hey, we want Arsene to stick around. And it sounds now like Arsene will actually stick around.
We're going to get him a Velcro coat for the winter so that he doesn't
get
he's
cold.
Not distracted by how to work a zipper.
Yeah, that's tough. So they'll do anything to keep him around.
He can focus on the on-field play.
Yeah, they'll do anything to keep him around.
Speaking of somewhat distracting, your thoughts on the yellow jersey?
It's traditional. It's traditional for Arsenal as far as away kits go. I don't like the color combination that well.
That blue?
With that blue. It's just both colors are so damn bright.
It's funny this year, and this just a little kit talk tangent here. It seems like the big colors to go with are yellow kits. Juventus has a yellow kit.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the other big clubs had going with the yellow kit, or the all black kit.
Yeah.
Which all the top Premier League clubs did.
Yep, pretty much.
City, United, and Chelsea all have a solid black kit.
Everyone wants to get murdered out,
That's right.
Look gangster. You can't really be fooled when it's a bunch of, European guys.
Or if you're Chelsea and you promptly lose to Everton.
Yeah, it's true. So talking a bit about bad kits,
Okay.
Let's move on to a particularly bad kit that we saw on the pitch today. Liverpool wearing those.
The Warrior.
The Warrior, these were their third kits. We've already had a talk about their atrocious second kits.
The Warrior brand, lacrosse brand, I believe, originally.
Yep.
Might want to stay in their lane.
Well, these jerseys look a lot like what you would expect out of kind of lacrosse jerseys, you know, with wild patterns on them and, really no regard for solid design. The thing that really got this, my wife pointed this one out to us today when we were watching this.
It had Major League Lacrosse written all over it.
Yeah, they may as well have. They were wearing these weird hooped socks today along with these hideous third kits. Each of the socks had hoops of different colors.
What?
So one leg was black hoops. The other leg were purple hoops.
Oh, my goodness.
So it was busy everywhere. There were like 20 different patterns in that kit today, and it literally made me want to throw up.
So last year they had a kit, again, also made by Warrior. I believe this is their second year with the lacrosse company.
It is.
They had an all-black kit that had this weird, like, gray bib-looking thing.
Yep.
Right around the neck.
But that's even good compared to the second and third kits that they have this year.
I bring that one up because not only is it a bad kit, but right here in suburban Cincinnati, I saw with that kit a full kit wanker.
Ooh.
And a Kroger.
Was he wearing socks too?
Oh, he had the socks too.
Please tell me he was wearing cleats.
No, he just had flip-flops on.
Oh,
so
man.
socks with flip-flops. So flip-flops, the socks, the Liverpool black and orange sock, black and orange shorts, and then that awful, weird gray bib kit.
Well,
full kit.
Let's hope
wanker.
We can point him out again this year in one of these atrocious Liverpool kits because
I hope he's out there.
The two that they have,
I hope he's listening.
The two that they have now are really, really bad. But let's talk a little bit about, I guess, the match that they had today.
We get yelled at when we don't talk about
Yeah, we
Liverpool.
really do. We have a couple vocal Liverpool fans that just ride us. Yeah. So we'll talk about them this week to appease you, rowdy Liverpool fans.
Yeah, you got the cannibal back.
Yep.
Suarez back, and he didn't really waste time.
He really didn't. He, I think he is looking a little rusty still. His first touch is a little heavy. He held himself to 2. I'm not talking necessarily about his goal-scoring prowess. I think, obviously, he still has a nose for goal. I heard an interesting stat during the match today. He played 9 internationals while he was out suspended. He had 8 goals. So it's not like he wasn't exactly out of play and not really getting, his touches in.
Sitting there playing Trivial Pursuit or whatever that was that he was playing in beating Liverpool.
Yeah, he is looking a little rusty to me in his touches. I think he's had kind of a heavier touch. He's always a guy that's been known for his close control and his ability to kind of maneuver himself out of positions. And he's doing that for sure.
Weave his way throughout the box.
But he doesn't quite look like he's got his full flow back yet. But regardless, 2 goals on your Premier League debut after being out for the first 8 matches of the season.
Sturridge gets back on the score sheet.
Sturridge scoring again. Yeah, there were calls for that potentially being a handball. I think
he apologized for it afterwards.
Yeah, I don't think it was a handball at all, but I think we can make fun of him for completely closing his eyes and missing the ball altogether.
That's the Sturridge I remember.
But either way, Liverpool did look pretty good. We talked last week about how Coutinho's absence, it was really going to hurt them. And I even tweeted out today, I wonder if Suarez can step up and play that role, that kind of creative role. And while he didn't exactly play the same thing that Coutinho would do for him, I think he did look pretty damn good out there. So, welcome back, Luis. When they get Coutinho back, they're going to be a scary side.
Well, let's talk about that for a second, because granted, they were playing basement dweller Sunderland,
right?
Who is a team in disarray, club in transition. Liverpool, are they back to being that strong team that they were at the beginning?
I'm hesitant to say that they are the Liverpool of old, the team that was always pushing for the top 4. Right now they're sitting second in the table. Mm-hmm. So you can't really not say that they're not pushing for that range. But they do have a lot of new pieces that they brought in this year. And, yeah, they're playing really well at the moment. But, again, we're not that far into the season. We need to see a little bit more of them. But I definitely think they're going to be pushing for the top 4. And the way that some of the big teams, the Uniteds, the cities, Chelsea even, not quite playing it at full strength, it's going to allow Liverpool the opportunity, if they keep playing this way, to sneak back in there. So,
Josie Altidore got the start.
He did.
So at least that's positive.
It's positive. He's getting minutes. Josie, again, he's not really playing that bad. When he gets his touches in, he does pretty well.
I had him down. He had 3 shots.
Yeah.
One of them actually on goal.
But he's playing on an island. He doesn't have anything really supporting him that well, and it's.
So do you think that if he was on, I don't know, let's say like a West Brom?
I think he'd be doing pretty well for himself.
Yeah.
I think he could cut it for a team like Everton. I mean, shoot, I think there are a lot of teams in the Premier League that could probably use a player of Altidore's caliber and quality. I just think Sunderland are lacking so much.
Heck, if he was back with Hull, he'd probably be doing pretty well.
Yeah. I mean, the problem is Sunderland just have nothing to link that final third. Why they let Stéphane Sessegnon go, I am shocked and appalled by still. Like, it just makes no sense. He was that player that could link in between the midfield and the strikers, and that's what Altidore is missing. Now, we would prefer that he gets some service too, but Sunderland just don't look to know what's going on at all.
I feel like Sunderland this year, I think they're this year's Blackburn. Like, it's just going to be just an ugly, depressing mess all year long.
Yeah.
And it's going to end horribly for them.
It could end up being that way. And let's hope for Josie's sake that it doesn't go that way, but it's really leaning more and more in that direction.
Other matches, I'm not even going to bring up. Stoke City's 0, Norwich 1. Who gives a crap?
Oh, man. I was upset.
Crappy.
I was upset that I woke up for it.
Why did you watch that? I saw the tweets this morning.
I only watched the first half because I had to leave for my match.
Were you like trying to get over a hangover or something?
No, I just couldn't fall back asleep. So I was like, I may as well watch this shit show.
And it was doing?
That. So if you didn't watch it, you didn't miss out on much. What was the final on that one?
1-0.
Yeah, it was 1-0. To Norwich.
Breck Shea's still out with injury.
Yep. Good move that's been for him. Although, judging at how Dallas are doing at the moment.
Yeah, kind of glad that he's not there, because this certainly wouldn't be a 2-3 affair at this
Everyone
point.
would be really excited because he'd link up so well with Kenny Cooper, who just came on the field. So, excitement in Dallas.
I like how they still have the lines on the field from, oh, that's right, a high school football game Friday night.
Interesting fact from my recent visit to the newly named Toyota Stadium, not to be confused with Toyota Park in Chicago.
What?
Yeah. But they have a agreement. The city of Frisco agreed to pay for a good chunk of that stadium, and therefore the local high school football team has access to it as well.
So that's Premier League. Next week, I don't know. I'm trying to think if there's any big matches coming up. Not really.
No.
I mean, I'm looking at the big clubs. Tottenham's got West Ham. That's
not that exciting.
No, that's not really.
It's another
great.
London derby.
United has Sunderland. Wow, that could be a bloodbath.
Mm-hmm.
City Everton could be decent.
Could be. Toffee's in decent form, although they have yet to play this week. They play Newcastle tomorrow.
Liverpool has Crystal Palace, and then Chelsea has Norwich, and then Arsenal has West Brom. So
not exactly any marquee matches for us this coming weekend. Tune in next week
as we wrap up what looks to be an amazing weekend
of Premier League action.
Of Premier League snoozers.
Ugh.
Let's talk about something that hopefully won't be a snoozer. That's some midweek action. We're kind of hitting that part of the year where there's something going on pretty much every midweek.
Yep.
You either got some kind of domestic cup or the European Cups going on. Champions League action starting on Tuesday. I'm looking at the list here. Big match, obviously, Arsenal-Napoli.
Yep, that's a huge one. A lot of Arsenal fans will look on with envy as they see Gonzalo Higuain trot out for the Naples side.
What could have been?
Yeah, what could have been. He did, of course, make an appearance very briefly over the summer at the all-important Emirates Cup, and he scored nonetheless. So here's hoping that he puts a little pain.
He's scoring at will, just like his brother Pep, according to
Yeah, Dwight Burgess, again, the long running crew announcer. He's been here since day one. And he referred to Gonzalo Higuain's brother, Federico Higuain, as Pippa, as in the sister of Kate Middleton.
Or that girl with the The Pippi Longstocking.
Yeah. He referred to him as Pippa Higuain.
Pippa Middleton.
Which, yeah, Pippa Middleton, taking the field for the Crew. Get it right, Dwight. It's Pippa. Know how to pronounce your Spanish, huh? So anyway, the younger Higuain will be visiting Arsenal, which should make for an interesting match on Tuesday. A couple other big ones that are going on. I think you have to give a nod to Ajax Milan. They're meeting up together.
Yeah, that'll be decent.
But the other one from that group is probably the one that's caught most attention because it was an excellent match last season. Actually, an excellent series of matches last season between Celtic and Barcelona.
Oh, yeah. Talk about what was just a great watch last year.
The antithesis of tiki-taka football with Celtic just parking the bus.
Parking the bus. Just the little engine that could.
Toppling the giants from Catalonia. So let's hope that they can pull that off again, at least for entertainment factor. Anything else that was really interesting from this round?
On Tuesday, on Wednesday you have Manchester City, Bayern Munich. That could be a good one or a blowout.
It could really be. I mean, Bayern are probably playing the best football in Europe right now overall. Just a free-flowing side under Pep. He's revitalized them. Which is kind of odd to say considering they won the Champions League last year, but they're playing this really ridiculous attacking football right now. So that'll be like you said, potentially a really huge match as far as what could come out of it, or it could end up being a stinker if both teams decide to mail it in. So
PSG Benfica, I'm hopeful that could be a decent match.
Yeah, maybe.
Juventus Galatasaray is somewhat interesting now that Roberto Mancini on the job.
Back working again after a short stint out after being released by City this summer.
Hanging out with Drogba.
Yeah. Schneider.
Hanging out in Turkey.
And a bunch of other Turkish guys that I don't really know.
And no one else does.
Yeah. So that should be a decent match. If for nothing else, just seeing Mancini back taking on another Italian team. But nothing, again.
You just look at a lot of matches and you go, wow, that's going to be a blowout, that'll be a blowout.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you see this time.
Real Madrid, Copenhagen, that'll be a blowout.
Yeah, most likely.
United, Shakhtar, probably a blowout.
Chelsea are playing Steaua Bucharest.
That'll be a 2-1 squeaker.
Basel and Schalke. There are a few out there that just don't exactly excite. Zenit Austrian wine just really gets me excited.
Porto Atletico.
Yeah.
That could be decent. Atletico getting the win over Madrid, over Real Madrid.
Yeah, over the weekend. Great match, too.
Absolutely fantastic.
If you didn't have a chance to watch that one, that was a good one.
Obviously, great match for those of you who can stomach watching something on beIN Sports.
That's true. I usually watch it on mute.
Yeah, that's the
just so I don't have to hear Ray Hudson scream on and on. He's always just getting so excited.
Getting all caught up in a lather.
Yeah. So let's talk about some domestic matters.
Let's talk a little MLS. We've kind of been hitting on a little bit throughout the night as we continue to watch. My eyes are not too great.
It's still 3-2.
Yeah. What are we at here?
We're 76? In the 78th?
Okay.
We're in the 70s. This is not a high-def television we're watching at the moment.
No, it's a standard def that's about, what do you say, that's 10-inch?
Yeah, 10-inch at best. We're probably looking at...
And it's mounted on the wall.
Yeah, we're probably looking at, 15 years old?
I'd go higher.
You go higher, huh? All right. So it's not the best of televisions, but we are getting to watch it.
It's a Sanyo.
Yeah, top brand, that. But there is some other action going on. This weekend's actually really big as far as MLS playoffs are concerned, which is kind of the reason I wanted to talk about it.
I mean, after this weekend, 3 matches left?
Yep. Yeah. So, we talked about this being a big match for the Crew. It's also a big match for the former Dallas Burn, FC Dallas.
Dallas Burn.
Yeah.
What a terrible name.
That really was. A lot of those names in the early MLS days were just so contrived. Nike made them all up, which is kind of the crazy part.
Oh, that was Nike was on
Nike was the consultation marketing firm for it. So
that's why we had the mutiny.
The Tampa Bay mutiny. Nothing like a good pirate mutiny in Tampa Bay, Florida.
Miami Fusion.
Yeah.
The Wizards.
That's the most egregious. No, let's get it straight. It started off as the Wiz. someone had the mind to say Wizard doesn't work. Now, I think was
the logo just the guy from Seinfeld, the Wiz?
No, it was not that. It was not that. That would have been much better. They still had that rainbow kind of soccer ball arching over top of the word Wiz, which
what a piece of crap.
Yeah, it was really a poor choice. Now I think they couldn't use something else for a while. Oh, they had to change from the Wiz because that was copyrighted.
That's a movie
by someone else.
I would say Disney.
Yeah, so that might have been it.
Or Warner Brothers.
Yeah, someone. But anyway, let's not talk about MLS history. Let's talk about MLS present. So aside from this crew match we've talked quite a bit about tonight, there is also a huge match as far as Supporter Shield implications are concerned tonight between Seattle and New York Red Bulls. And it is being played in Seattle, and Seattle are up 1-0. So big match for them. They lost the Supporter Shield title points at the moment to RSL.
We picked a bad night to finally do our podcast at the appropriate designated 8:30 time slot. We've been so distracted. We got two matches we're trying to follow here.
Yeah. Some other ones that are going on tonight. LA played Portland this weekend. Mm-hmm. Portland picked up a big win. Helped them move up in the standings, actually above LA as well, so that helps them out as far as playoffs are concerned and a little bit better seeding, although they may end up having to face the Galaxy again in quick order. So that was big. It's just generally right now it's kind of crunch time for MLS. Like you were saying, there aren't many matches left. You're looking at the playoff picture in both conferences.
Mm-hmm.
And the East is obviously kind of nuts right now. So
you got Chicago, who continues to slip.
Yep.
Columbus, it's frustrating because for as much as they've been winning lately, they really haven't moved too much in the standings.
Right. They haven't. But if they win tonight, and MLS, of course, they have this live table that they always have going at this time. So right now I'm seeing it as if Columbus aren't getting all 3 points tonight. And they are now a solitary point behind the 5th place Philadelphia Union. So if this result stands, they are only back on goal differential and a point.
And you look at New England's right there in the standings. They have that home and home to end the season with them.
Yep, exactly. So New England are in the fight. The Houston Dynamo are currently up in 4th place in the East on 44 points. So they're kind of stuck in the mire, too. So, we could see a lot of shuffling still go on in the Eastern Conference. And that's, again, we've talked about this a couple times with the Crew this season. We didn't think that they would still be in the hunt at this point. But if they can pull off these 3 points tonight, I think they've got a real shot of actually getting in. Now, I'd said before, I don't think they're really going to go anywhere these playoffs. But you had a really good point prior to this.
If they just catch fire?
Yeah.
I mean, you look at a lot of times they say, it's not about that you get hot, it's when you get hot.
Right.
If you get hot late and you sneak into the playoffs, you could just go and you're hot, you might go on a run.
They could. Or
they could just crap the bed.
Yeah, they could crap the bed.
And at least at this point, they have the chance to probably be, especially the way it sets up with them playing 2 more times with New England, they could be playing the role of spoiler,
right?
If nothing else.
Yeah, knocking someone else out.
Which that kind of feels good, I guess. I don't know. Like, is that a moral victory that you tanked someone else's season too?
I'm just glad to see the Crew kind of having some fight at the end of the season. I mean, you almost expected this team to just kind of zonk out and mail it in for the rest of the season, but they've done a good job to fight back into it. So let's see how this goes. We've got a few minutes left in this match. Looks like we're in the 84th now. So come on, Crew. Let's talk about.
All right, so that's MLS. Again, we're kind of getting down to the wire here. We'll be kind of following this to see where everything kind of shakes out. Do the Crew make it? Do teams like Chicago just bomb out late?
Looking that way.
Yeah, it's definitely looking that way for them. I don't know. I'm excited. This is crunch time.
It is crunch time. This is when MLS gets to be really interesting. The playoffs are kind of fun.
At least in the Eastern Conference. Western Conference, a little more gap.
We kind of know what's going on there. We know who we're going to be in most likely. But
all right, you got a pub for us this week?
I do have a pub for us this week. So I've been lazy the last few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't really profiled any of the pubs in the wrong side of the pond, Soccer Pub Atlas.
And not to be a douche, but you are basically just going on to your website that you've created.
Right.
And just jotting down the information of a pub.
Right. So
that was.
It's really just me not taking the time to read words off my own website.
Okay. So, I just wanted to see about that.
That was appropriate. And the crew just nodded themselves another goal to make it 4-2.
I would say another victory. I think this one's in the bag.
I think this one is in the bag. Great ball in and a decent finish. How about this crew? We now have 4 goals in this match.
These guys?
3 goals in the last match. 7 goals. We probably went the previous 4 games without scoring 7 goals. So
I did call for a 4-2 final for Dallas.
Interesting.
So your pub.
Yeah, I have a pub. Back to this Pub Atlas. So I actually went onto my website and found a pub this week.
Did you remember the web address?
I did remember it. Yeah, I actually can remember my website URL. So I went on out, and this is actually one I haven't been to, but one of my buddies went to. We actually watched the Champions League final there this year, and that's the Three Lions Pub in Denver, Colorado. And I got a little inside scoop from my buddy A.D. Driver, a regular listener of the blog as well. But the Three Lions Pub is unique in the fact that it is pretty much a soccer pub built from the ground up.
So it was built for soccer fans to come watch matches.
Yeah.
That was its purpose.
Its main purpose and theme is to be a soccer pub.
And not saying there's anything wrong with it, but you get some of these pubs that, maybe they get a new general manager in that's a soccer guy that wants to kind of do that, or they just kind of go, we need a new marketing strategy. Let's try to go after this market.
Yeah, exactly. Or, it's an Irish par, and they, they're used to getting people in to watch soccer every once in a while, hoping that it might be on, and they, build a following that way. Or what you more generally see is a sports bar that's just saying, hey, here's a revenue stream.
Bingo.
So this pub, the Three Lions Pub in Denver, is actually one that was built with soccer in mind. They even say kind of as their motto that they built this pub and opened it up as a homage to the English for giving us the soccer pub culture.
Oh, hence the Three Lions.
Yeah. So a cool little ode to that there. It is a 2-story bar, a bar on each floor, with a bunch of different TVs. And the kind of cool setup on these TVs is that a lot of them have their own kind of sound systems. So no matter where you go within the pub, you can pretty much listen to the match you want to listen to, which I think is kind of cool. A lot of places they'll put one match on. You can hear that one. Sweet, yeah. And you're kind of stuck. And it's a little odd watching your match while you hear someone else's play in the background that you're not watching, which is a little distracting. But at the Three Lions, they give the opportunity to listen to yours. But overall, it's a really cool spot. If you're ever in Denver looking to check it out, I know that it's been highly recommended by several kind of famous scribes in the game. Grant Wall had some kind news for them, kind reviews. So definitely check out the Three Lions Pub in Denver.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, cool.
You got anything else for us? You're wearing a Red Bulls hat today. You want to explain yourself?
It's not a New York Red Bulls hat. This is just a Red Bull hat.
It's all the same family.
It is, I guess. I am not supporting the New York team tonight.
You're supporting the Flutog.
I am. Yeah. I am supporting the Flutog. So,
awesome.
Yeah. And the drink of Red Bull in general. I'm addicted to it.
Are you really?
I am.
I'm more of the Nas sugar-free. That's my drink.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's my energy drink of choice.
Yeah. So, oddly enough, the Red Bull hat actually came from my days as a semi-sponsored skier back in college.
Really?
Yeah, and they just slapped some logos on my skis and on my helmet. Said, hey, boy, go out and ride around with these on here, and we'll pay you in Red Bull.
That's a good payment as a college kid.
Well, I don't know that it was so much as a payment, so much as this is a future investment by Red Bull. Because if they give us all this free Red Bull month in and month out, I'm going to have to drink it and get addicted to it. And now I need Red Bull. So,
you got that early fix.
Yeah.
First fix is always free.
It always is. Just like with my heroin addiction. Anyway.
I went ahead and shaved my head like the guy on Breaking Bad.
I did notice that it's a little shorter.
Yeah, looking a bit Walter White-esque.
You are a little scarier today.
I am Heisenberg.
Huh. Well, now I know you're cooking meth.
Yeah.
So this has just turned from a soccer podcast into an illicit drug podcast.
Sweet. What better way to end?
And for anyone that's made it this far, you're welcome.
All right. That's it for us next week. Terrible Premier League games, apparently.
We'll review them, and you will hopefully listen.
All right.
Later.
Bye.